So in this podcast, we always talk about college instructors' most effective teaching strategies and kind of hear what people are doing in their classrooms that's really working with their students. And so the teaching strategies you brought today are discussion-based learning and case scenarios. So can you tell us about what that means and how you use them in your classroom?
Yes. So one thing I teach online. And so oftentimes you got to keep these students engaged. And it can't be me lecturing you, especially like I have a research class and that class is 3 hours. So it can't be
Wow.
me 3 hours lecturing you about research, which can be very, the theories of research can sound really mundane after a
It's
while.
dry.
It's dry, right? It's dry. And so, how do we make this where in the field of healthcare, regardless if you're on the clinical side or the administrative side, it's still a hands-on business and it requires a lot of communication. And so the discussion-based learning is like we're looking at, okay, this is a problem. This is a theory that we're talking about. Let's have a discussion around it. What do you think? You didn't buy this expensive textbook just to have it. You bought it, you're reading it, and it makes students read because it's like, okay, I need to come to the class knowing what we're going to have a discussion around. Because I just tell you, we're talking about these two chapters for this class session. You better read it because you will be lost if you don't. And I will pull just different scenarios or incorporate the two case scenarios as well as discussion based learning. And we're having conversations about it. And through the conversations, now students are learning. They're learning, okay, yes, this is the professor's perspective, but it's only my perspective, right? The healthcare field is multifaceted. So it takes and it's rooted in human innovation. It's one of the industries where you can't just use technology and that's it. No, it's rooted on human innovation. So how do we start to ideate the things that will help create change in healthcare, help us solve problems? There's still a lot of gaps in our US healthcare system, but also the things that we've done really well. And so when students have felt like they're part of the conversation, it makes the class experience for me and my years of doing it so more easier. You don't have any student just like, oh, being mute is required for you to speak in my class. If you don't, I will remove you. If I called you 3 times and I have not heard from you, you have not said nothing, you will be exited out of the class respectfully because I'm assuming you are not there
Yeah.
because this is not just, I'm going to sit behind the computer. And many students, they'll tell you like, oh, I thought online learning would be easier. And that's not the case at all. Like when we have holidays, the online learning setting is still there. You still have to do the work. You still have to show up. You still have to communicate both in the classroom when we have for my synchronous courses, when we have to meet in the virtual classes, then you also have to contribute to the discussion board. So there's a lot of conversations that we are having around the subject of the week. And I just find that it's so much fruitful. It gives me the opportunity to learn what students also believe or who are working in the field is already are adding and the things that they see, because education to me is a two-way exchange. Yes, I'm the professor. Yes, you see me as this person who's in charge of the classroom, but it doesn't mean that I can't learn from you. And I think that's why my students really appreciate me as a professor, because I'm like, what do you think? You work in the field. You said and the first week of class, the first 2 weeks, I'm like, okay, if you tell us what you do, let's get your background, where you aspiring to be. Many of them now, because my classes, I usually get the students who are juniors or seniors and or master's graduate students. And so a lot of them are already working in the field. So tell us about your experience with this topic, because one thing in healthcare, you're always going to see what you learn in the classroom in the field. It's not one of those industries that's like, you will never see this again. Absolutely not. What you see in the classroom, you're going to see it in the field. So let's have conversations around that. And students appreciate that I see them not just as a student, but as a professional in the field.